Hi, I'm Annie Botticelli, and this is the Storyteller Forecast for Pisces for September 2015. Go to my website, aspiritualspark.com, where you can see a list of my current offerings, and you can sign up for my free email newsletter and become part of my community and get all the perks that goes along with that. So what's going on in September? We have a doozy of a month with the eclipses. Twice a year, we have eclipse time. It's earlier in the year and then it's later in the year, often called the spring and fall eclipses, even though sometimes the actual dates that the eclipses occur aren't in the official days that we call fall. It's in that time of year. And we have two personal planets having effects for their retrogrades, and all of this is going on at once in this month. So let's talk about some general implications, some specific implications for Pisces. Mercury goes retrograde on September 17th, and it stays retrograde through October 8th. There are many things to be aware of regarding Mercury retrograde. This happens 3 to 4 times a year for about 8 to 9 weeks of influence. So we spend pretty much about half of our lives in some part of the Mercury retrograde shadow period or actual retrograde period. The shadow period started August 29th, and then the actual retrograde starts September 17th. It goes retrograde through October 8th, but then the post-shadow period runs through October 24th. So essentially, from the end of August through the end of October, we are fully shrouded in Mercury retrograde. Definitely check out my video, Mercury retrograde. I just posted a new video that is very detailed, very comprehensive, to help you understand this transit, to help you not bang your head against the wall with the problems that happen in Mercury retrograde. Don't buy new devices, don't buy new things, don't launch new things, do go back over old things, do reconsider anything that begins with R-E, rest, reconsider, reevaluate, but not commit or do new things. So definitely listen to that video, because I don't have time to address all of the implications of Mercury retrograde, and it's really important for you to know them because, first of all, it happens all the time, and second of all, because it's happening in September, and this is what we're working with right now. So at the same time, we're still experiencing the effects of Venus in retrograde. Venus went retrograde at the end of July. Its shadow period started at the end of June. So then Venus is retrograde from July 25th through September 6th. But hold your horses. Don't now go and try to do all the things that we say not to do in Venus retrograde. Speaking of which, if you haven't already, you definitely want to listen to my Venus retrograde video, which again, it's very comprehensive, and I don't have time to go through all of the implications of this in the individual horoscopes. There are so many, but Venus rules love, beauty, money, business, aesthetics, design, everything involving relationships. You really need to know what's up there. So go to my channel, Annie Botticelli, do a search for Venus retrograde, do's and don'ts, or just Venus retrograde, do a search for Mercury retrograde, and get like really up to speed with those situations, because those are going to be all about September. September's going to be all about them. So when Venus goes direct on September 6th, the reason why I was saying hold your horses is because the shadow period runs through October 9th. So this is a really long cycle. Venus retrograde happens once every 18 months, and it's about 4 months that we're really just covered in this energy of going backwards, involving money and business things and love and relationships, things coming back from the past. Definitely not the time to commit to new things or launch new things. This theme of not initiating or launching new things is firmly solidified by the fact that we have the eclipses in September. September 13th, we have a partial solar eclipse at 20 degrees of Virgo. September 27th, we have a total lunar eclipse at 4 degrees of Aries. Eclipse time is not a time to initiate new things, because so many changes are going to come so rapidly and so transformatively through these eclipses that you don't want to initiate anything new or force anything new, because these new pieces are going to jolt in place a whole different trajectory. So you've got 4 huge reasons to not make September your month to launch things and do new things and make a bunch of firm, rigid plans and, you know, make huge life-altering decisions. It is a time to respond to the things that come to you, but not a time to initiate them, okay, if you can help that. So let's talk about the eclipses and what they can do and what they can look like for Pisces. So in general, solar eclipses open up new opportunities, new windows, new energy. And then lunar eclipses close something out. I always talk about this energetic law that energy is not created nor destroyed, it simply changes form. And that law is very beautifully in play and very visible at the time of the eclipses, where something huge comes in and something huge goes out. You know, you hear stories all the time. I hear people say, and this happened when I was born as well, that my grandfather died and then I was born. And this happens all the time. There's a huge exit out of people's experience and then a huge entrance in. You know, and birth and death are very much embodying these strong energies of in and out. But those aren't the only ways that this energy can manifest. But it is some way that does happen. And sometimes the deaths are figurative. It's an ending to something, a closure, a completion. So the lunar eclipse takes some energy away. It eclipses something out. The solar eclipse opens something new. And we're moving along a continuum. And I go into some more detail about this. When you sign up for my free email newsletter, I do a write-up for the upcoming month where you can see some things on paper and kind of learn different dimensions of astrology for planning purposes and just your general understanding. And I went into more detail about this there. But we've got two polarities at play with this eclipse cycle, because we've got the Aries-Libra eclipses that have been going since 2013. This polarity of eclipses is going to continue into March of 2016. But then as of April, we started the Pisces-Virgo eclipses coming in. So we've got this story of Pisces-Virgo and the story of Aries and Libra very much together, woven together at this eclipse time in September. If you've listened to my horoscopes before, and if you've specifically listened to the August horoscopes, I was talking about the fact that all of August was ripe territory for news, information, events that are eclipse related to come in. Sometimes we experience news or information or events from an eclipse up to 6 weeks before it actually happens. So starting from the beginning of August, you might have started getting, woo, huge news. Wow, my life is about to change. And often it will change right at that moment, but a lot of times it's like you get news that it's going to change and then you're kind of just hanging in the balance while the details make themselves manifest. But it's like this, whoo, news comes in and then you like wait to see how things are going to shuffle down. And that very well could have started in August. Most of the transits that we have the energies don't just take place at the moment that that transit occurs. There's orbs of energy in either direction with varying lengths depending on what planets are involved. Varying lengths of orbs of energy leading up to and afterwards. So we've got this story which is going to be very strong for all people, but especially for Pisces, of me versus we. Because Aries and Libra, Aries rules me, energy myself, Libra rules we, energy cooperation together. And for many Pisces, that energy is actually also happening in the houses of the 1st and 7th house, which are the houses of me and we. So most of you are going to have a double dose of the energy of me and we, something being shuffled. Now, mostly it's going to be something closing up in the energy of your independence or yourself, and something new opening up in the energy of we and relationship. So a very typical way that winds up looking is somebody gets engaged, somebody gets married, somebody is pregnant, somebody gets somebody pregnant, and this energy of what yourself and how you manifested your energy in the world, a chapter gets closed in favor of what you're doing with somebody else, or what you're doing together with several different people, or the energy of relationship. So this is an interesting energy. And of course, We don't ever know how these things are going to manifest and how you're going to experience how they manifest. But if you've been hoping for going deeper into partnership and relationship, then this could be a really good thing, you know. But a lot of times, you know, it makes me think of like the bachelor or bachelorette who, you know, sells their things that were uniquely about them, and then they move forward in this life together. And so it's a little bit sad that you're saying bye to something that was dear to you, a precious experience, but you're saying hello to something else. You know, so eclipses are just like that, you know, where you take the time to just say goodbye to the things that were, and then be present with the things that are coming. Some of you are going to actually experience this solar eclipse, this opening of energy in your 6th house. And all of you to some degree will have the chance to experience the energy of newness in Virgo. Virgo rules the 6th house. Some of you will actually have the eclipse happen in the 6th house, but the eclipse is happening in the sign of Virgo, which rules the 6th house. So the 6th house energy of newness is coming regardless of whether you have an early, middle, or late degree placement of Pisces. But what it looks like when you have newness opening in Virgo is Virgo rules your workday environment or your home environment. Something in your, it's called mundane reality. So things you do every day. Many people are going to have their workplace drastically change. Perhaps that person that aggravated the living daylights out of you gets transferred or leaves, and now you have this whole new opportunity. Or maybe you leave, or maybe you are, you know, self-employed and you get new business that comes in and you get super busy. Usually the energy of opening in Virgo with eclipses brings a lot of busyness. It brings like a lot of projects and a lot of activity and a lot of movement. This is also the house of health and the house of nutrition and the like body-mind connection and anything involving medicine and medical testing and things like that. So there could be movement along the front of your health. And this is also the house of animals. So whether you're an animal lover or not, or whether you have pets or not, sometimes the entrance of an animal or animal-related activity can come in when there's a solar eclipse in Virgo, because Virgo rules these animals. Again, if you just tune into the energy of something that you would do every day, an animal is something that you would take care of every day. That's part of why it's in that house. They need care every day. There needs to be a routine. There needs to be a schedule. And the 6th house is very much like that. It's like the house of your schedule, of what that looks like. So there's new opening in what your schedule is going to look like. And it could be you're getting busy, or it could be you're having things taken off your plate, but in any case, it's a new experience of what your day-to-day looks like. So that is the gist of the energies for the 6th house and for Virgo energy. Some of you are going to have this opening, all of you it'll be in Virgo, the sign, but some of you are going to have it in the house of Libra. We were talking about that earlier with this kind of new energy opening in relationships. The 7th house, interestingly, is not just the house of romance and, well, it's not really the house of romance. It's the house of romantic partners, like one-on-one relationships. It's also the house of business partners. It's just basically anything that's a one-on-one relationship. This is also the house of, it's called open enemies. So if there's somebody that you don't like and they don't like you and you're in competition with one another, or you're at war with one another, or you're just very openly kind of antagonistic to each other, this is the house of that. And when there's a new opening in that house, there could be a chance for a smoothing over or a new chapter with someone who formerly was a competitor or an antagonist to what you're trying to do. Now, it's part of my belief and my practice and what I teach about to always use the reflections in our lives to show us what we have unresolved within ourselves, and to deal with outer problems on the inner planes, and then the outer things shift to show us the shifts we made on the inside. So if you're going crazy because you have this super annoying neighbor, or this super annoying, you know, competitor that owns a similar shop where you have your business, or something like that, consider the path of inner work for this, because this type of work could be, it could work a lot of magic, especially when used in conjunction with this eclipse cycle. Because if if that person makes you feel a certain way, and then you go deal with where that originally came from in your life, then they have to have a different reflection. So either they'll stop annoying you so much, you'll stop having a charge, or they'll just disappear from your experience altogether. I can't tell you how many times I've had this happen, where something outside of me was just like really, really seemingly impenetrable as far as an obstacle. And then I would look inside and do work inside, and then it just ceased to exist as a problem. And it's magical. So I want to put that out there for you to deal with, because there's so much energy that is open for you to enrich, to highlight, to improve, to move along the path of partnership and cooperation. That's another word of this house. And you really could eradicate a challenge that has been hindering you for a long time. And this is kind of where you can see this story going back to this lunar eclipse happening in the first house, or in the energy of Aries, is something about yourself being eclipsed out. Well, maybe that was a block within yourself. A pattern within yourself is eclipsed out, and that leaves you open to this glowing new path in the area of cooperation and relationship. So those are some of the general things and specific things that are going to be present for Pisces energy. If you would like to have a personal chart reading, definitely go to my website, aspiritualspark.com, or click on the link below this video and see more about my personal coaching. You can also see more about my programs and my webinars. I have an Unleash Your Money Magnet webinar that is dynamite for shifting. I hear stories coming back to me from the latest launch of that, of people really having some major breakthroughs in their finances from working with that webinar. Also, my Shine program is intended to help you synergize with the stars rather than having them seem to work against you, and really bring your brilliance into the world, and that is available on a sliding scale. And see the other things I have going on. There's a whole bunch, and while you're there, sign up for my free email newsletter and become part of my community. And I hope you have a wonderful September. Bye!